Hello Nerf fans, SpectreN7 here. This is a world's largest mod party video. This is a video going to be outlining the build for a upgraded Strife build, but it's a bit of a special one because I'm going to be adding a cosmetic kit from one of our community members, a guy called NoNonsenseNerfing, and he makes, possibly in my view, the best 40k bolt gun conversion for Strifes that's out there. Now I actually bought this kit just shy of a year ago, just after I moved into the new house, with the intention of it being a project for higher power FPS games in Britnerfers, and it kind of got put on the back burner because one of the things I had done is I'd told Mitch, NoNonsenseNerfing, that I was going to do an assembly video for him, basically to sort of talk through to everybody how you go about building one of these kits. And because I wanted to do that right, it's taken me a bit of time to get to a position where I actually felt comfortable doing that. So this is the Strife. This is what it looks like before you start, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like after you've finished assembling it. Now, I have not actually followed his instructions. I have come up with a slightly alternate way of putting it together, which I'm going to talk you guys through. But this is how it will look before painting. Obviously, I've got to sand off the Nerf logo. Mitch, as one of the things he will do you custom logos. This is a custom 3D printed piece. It is the Renegade symbol from Mass Effect, because obviously, as everybody knows, I'm a huge Mass Effect nerd. But the way that this works, it all kind of comes together, and it's really, really well done. I'm a huge fan of how this has been put together. This fits on the end strike barrel lug, and the tolerance is great. This is beautifully tight. I don't need to worry about like having a barrel gasket or anything else. This comes off. Now, this boot heel and this piece are from a different kit, but those are available on Thingiverse. I'll have links to those in the description. And the entire top piece just comes away, and then this, it just fits on the end strike barrel look like that. It's really quite cool. Now, the way that I've built this, now the instructions that you get with it tell you to glue the side panels and the top panels together and then assemble this into a three-part unit. But what I actually found was easier was to assemble the two halves into their sort of U-channel shapes and then glue them together. Now, what I've done is, in addition to drilling a couple of holes in the right hand side so I can add these fidlock mounts so that I can magnetize this to myself, I have also not glued this panel into place, because this panel has the expanded space for where the battery goes. Now, this allows me to just undo these two bolts and take off this panel, and I've glued the ejection port in place just onto this half, so that it adds like a sort of, you hopefully can see that, it adds as a sort of guiding loop, but it means I can take this entire thing out, so I can change the battery without taking the whole thing apart. What I need to do now is I need to, now that I've done the externals, I've glued all this together, I've sanded everything down, ready for painting. What I need to do next is I need to basically wire this up so it hits like a truck. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add, well, a whole bunch of stuff into the inside of this. Standard basic external upgrades, Bobolola style rev trigger, extended mag release. And a really nice shiny worker artifact red trigger, because it's going to look great with the red highlighting on the blaster. Now, when I originally put this build together, when I originally started looking at parts for this, I was originally going to put in an OFP 41.5mm 3D printed cage, but in the intervening year that it's taken me to get this build ready, Worker have come out with this, which is a 41.5mm metal cage. I'm a big fan of metal cages, so I'm going to be putting that in instead. It's going to be putting Kraken motors and these Britnerf Bulldog wheels. Now I'm hoping to get somewhere between 150 and 160 out of this with that build set. I'm also going to be putting in the Worker full auto kit. Now hopefully, as I say, if I get anything over 150 out of this, I'll be happy. But I have a bunch of stuff to do. I have to obviously sand off the logos, key this ready for painting, and basically install the wiring and everything else inside. But hopefully the next thing you see will be this being opened up. Okay, so Strife is open. We're in a sort of good starting point. What we need to do now is we need to put all of the internals into it. We have a whole bunch of cool stuff, as I've said, to put into this baby. Now we're using the Worker 3-switch auto kit, which is a bit of an interesting one. It's meant I've had to make a couple of changes to this Strife, which I don't normally have to, because normally when you cut out the battery tray, you have all of this space that you can take out as well, which means you can fit a whole bunch of batteries into this. Problem that I have is, because this is running Krakens and I'm putting the full auto kit in it, this space here is taken up with this 3D printed spacer, which is how you mount the auto thing with the Bart Simpson gear and all of that. So what we need to do is we've needed to basically cut this whole part of the Strife open. Now fortunately, because of the way that the other part of the shell fits into this, we've kept this screw post. This will remain relatively stable. It's a bit flexy now when it's in half, but it is still going to be fine. And that means that I can fit this 3S battery into there, and then all my cable spacing can go here. So it's a little bit more of an intricate wiring job, but it's going to be interesting nevertheless. So let's get started. And what we're just doing at the moment is we're just going to test that I've wired this motor correctly, because again, something I always worry about getting wrong, because nothing sucks more than your blaster charging itself back into play. So what we do is we just put this up so the cage is pointing somewhere I don't need to worry about. Start the cage spinning, and awesome. So positive and negative are the right way around. Hooray. So this is pretty much done. I need to put the last few screws in. I've had to make a couple of modifications to the return switch. I hate doing these, but they're so good when they work. So red. Why are you sticking? So, red, trigger, so as soon as I let go of the trigger, it only does one rotation. Or it does a whole mess of full auto. So now we have to put the cabling back in. See if we can get this to close up. just need to button her back up and see how she behaves. Okay, so she's back together. She's been chronoed. She currently hits somewhere between 140 and 150. We've got a couple, but obviously it's got a bit of time for the wheels to bed in. These are brand new wheels. So generally once they've had a few hundred darts through, they'll usually climb maybe 5-10 FPS. So I'm reasonably happy with the outcome. The next thing to do obviously is to finish the paint job. I've keyed the blaster here. I have now got to go take it and paint it for primer. Now because the external kit goes on top of the existing one, I'm very deliberately not painting the top part of the blaster so that when the two parts interface there's no paint rubbing, there's no interface issues. But yeah, next thing you see should be the blaster in its finished form. It's the end of the day and well, I am super happy with that. Hits, as I say, 145, 150, which will only get higher as the thing goes on. Now, oh great, wonderful. So I also added holster mounts to the right hand side so that I can mount this magnetically to whatever the hell I feel like it. I'm using the one thing Fortnite blasters are good for, cartoonishly oversized magazines, which make this look brilliant. I can't sort of gush more about how cool this kit is. It's entirely, like, there's no shell cutting involved. The entire thing comes on together. It all locks into place. It all kind of fits together. There's enough space here for a 3S battery. It's got the full auto kit, which is quite an intimidating noise. And yeah, this is the N7 Ordinatus bolter. I'm super happy with how that's come out. I've just noticed actually I need to do a very small amount of touch-ups there, but yeah, pretty much done. This is the N7 Customs entry into the world's largest mod party. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this. I've been Spectre N7. I should